Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And today I've got the Kunwu Django in hand. This was sent my way by the Lefty EDC Pass Round Group. I don't know if the Pass Round Group actually has a name, but Lefty EDC put it together to share some of the beautiful steel he's got coming in. And that's how I got my hands on this bad boy, which I'm truly grateful for. You know, here in 2024 and even last year in 2023, it was kind of tough. It was tough because there were so many amazing designs that were released, and yet our wallets only go so far. Our money only stretches so far before you go from eating top ramen to boot leather. And so what that means is that there are just some knives that even though you would love to buy them, you end up having to pass. And for me, the Django was one of those. I'm really excited to get one in hand because, for one, I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I absolutely love this blade shape. I would almost call it a clip point Bowie blade shape. It's not quite a clip point. It's not quite what I would call a Bowie. Maybe it is a Bowie. I don't know. But what I do know is that it's pretty badass. I absolutely dig the fact that we have this upside down triangular deployment hole that is followed by a fuller. That level of design in the aesthetics department is stunning to me, but it's also something that you could potentially use. Something else that I appreciate on this knife is the fact that it is a crossbar style lock, they did more than just like the studs over here. We actually have some very comfortable slides instead, and that makes it nice. It makes it comfy, and it's a little bit different than what we normally see out of crossbar style locks. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what this is, what it costs, what do you get for your hard-earned money, and how much hard-earned money. To start off, this particular model is $239. And if you spend your $239 hard-earned dollars, what you'll get is a knife that is about 7.5 inches, about 7.6 inches overall. It's got a blade that's made out of LMAX, which has been heat treated to 60 to 62 HRC with their cryo treating process. The blade is LMAX. The handle scales are diamond textured titanium, which is fantastic. It has a single-sided captive pivot running on ceramic bearings, a 3D milled titanium pocket clip, 3D milled backspacer, and the liners in here are pocketed and milled out for some extra weight relief, giving you an overall weight of about 4.5 ounces, which is respectable for an all-metal design like this. They took their time. They contoured the handle scales, which I'm a huge fan of. It makes the ergos really good. For deployment, we've got our deployment hole, and then, of course, we also have this fuller, and you can thumb flick it, or you can reverse flick it, or you could just use this crossbar style lock and be, somewhat annoying to the people around you, if that's your jam. The back end features this lanyard hole, which looks like it might go through the scales, but it actually just kind of goes through the scales in the backspacer here on the back. That's all right. For the hardware, we have T8 hardware all around. So T8 for the body screw, T8 for the pocket clip screw, and then, of course, T8 for the pivot. Although there is a little bit of wiggle room in there. Let's see. Can we get a size up on that pivot? You know what? I can. I absolutely can. That is a T9 Torx bit, and it actually fits. It doesn't fit well, but it does fit. That's weird to me. You can actually use a T9. Whatever. Most people will use a T8, and I think that you'll be absolutely fine with that. Something else that's worth mentioning is the fact that I do believe that these are sent in brand new inbox with a couple different weighted springs, so you could actually get a lighter or a stronger detent. And I'm going to use the bunny ears because And if you have any experience with crossbar style locks, you'll know that there is no traditional detent. The detent is kind of a faux thing, which is based on the weight of this crossbar style lock. And so you can fail it. Absolutely, you can fail it. However, this is a strong locking mechanism. There's absolutely no blade play, left, right, up, down. It's really good. Blade centering right out of the box is solid and on point, perfectly centered. And there is, of course, no lock rock. If there was lock rock on this, I'd be very concerned. There's no lock rock. It feels good in the hand. The diamond texturing, I had a feeling that it might feel a little rough, but it feels good and it gives you a decent amount of grip, especially with the tips of your fingers when you go in for a full 4-finger grip. In a non-choked up grip, I get a very solid 4-finger grip. And then, of course, because of this generous finger choil up front, you can choke up. It has jimping on the spine of the blade, and your thumb rests naturally against the peak of that apex on the spine. And so you get a very, very nicely locked in grip. I do wish that that jimping had proceeded the entire length before that mountain peak right there. That would have just been sublime. It would have been superior grip, and it would have been undeniably excellent. It doesn't, and it's not a huge deal. It's just a personal preference. I wonder if they just didn't do that for the sake of aesthetics. For some reason, some people just tend to believe that extra jimping on the spine makes the knife not look as good, but I'll leave that up to you. Do you think that it would look okay with extra jimping up there? Would you find that useful? Do you choke up on your knives? I know I do. I like having excellent control. As far as the balance of the knife feels confident in the hand. Indexing it is absolutely a dream. It's a very, very well-balanced knife. And Kunwu has been, honestly, they've been surprising people. One of the biggest things that I applaud them for is doing the heat treat right on their steel. You know, we see a lot of M390 getting advertised everywhere. We see LMAX getting advertised everywhere, but nobody ever wants to talk about the Rockwell hardness. And the reason why is because they want to let the name of the super steel be the buzzword. Be like, oh, superior edge retention. And then you get it, and it's got, you know, the same edge retention as your knife that has D2 steel. And you want to know why? And that's because most manufacturing companies don't run their steel hard enough to actually get that superior edge retention that they advertise. Kunwu does. They have a history of excellence there, and they're a brand that's done a phenomenal job listening to the community, which is why they've been so popular. The first run of these sold out, the pre-order sold out, the second run sold out. We're probably on like the third or fourth run by now, and not all of the models are available. They came out with a couple different variants of this, some with the orange peel style handles, some with the plain handles, some with the DLC blades, some that had carbon fiber, some that have G-Mascus. This one is $239, but if that's a little too rich for your blood, you can actually get this for $189 if you're okay with the G-Mascus handle skills, but you like everything else. I will say this. I wish that this had a little bit better detent, but all hope is not lost. Some of you may have heard of something called the magnet detent mod. A quick Google search will reveal this to you, but you can actually get a couple neodymium magnets that will rest in those pocketed liners, and it would actually create a perfect detent for this. And if this was mine, I would 100% be going to Amazon, picking out those magnets, gluing them inside and calling it a day, because if you've tried a knife that has a magnet detent, I'm telling you, it is really good, especially on a knife like this, which traditionally does not have one. It would make a huge difference for deployment. What do I think of the value proposition? Considering that there are knives that have the same material value proposition of, you know, super steel titanium, but drop the ball on the heat treat, and those go for far more than this. I think that this is actually a pretty good deal. I would love to pick one of these up and modify it just to do the magnet mod, and in the future you might see that happen. I would love to do that. However, the one that I'm hunting for has the polished DLC finish, and that just happens to be their most popular model. So we may end up going for one that has the G-Mascus. I'm not entirely sure. I'll link to the ones that I've found down below. So you know what? If you're looking to pick one of these up and maybe you were waiting on my opinion, you know, look no further, guys. This is definitely one that I think is an easy recommend. It's a really good looking knife. The fit and finish is excellent. The QA check on here is excellent. They're doing great things over at Kunwu. I'm just excited to see what they come out with next. But you let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. And by the way, if you want to watch more awesome knife and EDC content, go ahead and click on one of the videos that pops up next.